What's going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 78 of the Game Room Podcast. I'm Rome.
I'm Dev.
And we're switching it up. We got a Sunday night show going on because the Birds are playing tomorrow.
Yep.
Go Birds. Yeah, man, what a week. PS5 Pro was announced officially, like we talked about on the last podcast. Annapurna, something's going on there, which we'll talk about. And Microsoft laid off 650 additional Xbox employees. Like I said at the start of the show, this is the Game Room Podcast, where each and every week we get all the news together and get you up to speed for next week, so you're all good to go with all the gaming news and whatnot. If you like what you see, make sure you subscribe, join our Discord, like the video, hang out with us, help us, and we can make the show better and help you. Now, let's just get into the headlines. We talked about this last week. It was kind of the big story last week that the announcement was coming. But headline number one, the PS5 Pro has officially been announced. After reports and rumors plenty over the last year and a half, Sony has officially revealed the PS5 Pro for players. The announcement came via a special 9-minute event on PlayStation's YouTube channel. The PS5 Pro is an all-digital console with a release date of November 7th. As far as price goes, it'll retail at $699.99. That's a $200 increase over the base PS5. That features a disc drive. The console comes with a 2TB SSD, a DualSense controller, and a copy of Astro's Playroom pre-installed. Should you want to add a disc drive, you can buy the separate disc drive for the console for $80. Now also, the vertical stand for the console is also not included. That's going to run you $30.
Insane, that part. What?
I think the whole thing about the price is insane. So let's get right into it before we continue. We were talking about it last week, and I was just like, this thing's going to cost a decent amount, but I don't even think I went $700. I think I said $600.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? $700?
I mean, yeah, I think that's the main talking point. It feels like, man, this is $700.
Yeah, I mean, it's $700. It doesn't include a disc drive. It doesn't include a vertical stand.
Yeah, the stand part is crazy to me. An additional $30 just for a stand.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to justify it, and we'll talk more about it. But a big question that has really kind of rung through the entire announcement, the whole thing for me is like, who is this for?
Yeah.
Like I just find it really kind of hard to justify like who it's for, and we'll talk more about.
Because I think I know who it's for.
I think I know who they intend for it to be for.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, it's just like, man, I think it's just really hard to justify. I mean, so. But let's continue on before we give more thoughts. What's in the console? Sony is advertising a big 3 of updates. For the PS5 Pro compared to the base PS5. Those include upgraded GPU, advanced ray tracing, and AI-driven upscaling. Now the upgraded GPU, it says with the PS5 Pro, they're upgrading the GPU to that is 67% more compute units than the current PS5 and 28% faster memory. Overall, this enables up to 45% faster rendering for gameplay, making the experience much smoother. For advanced ray tracing, it's just, they've added more powerful ray tracing. AI-driven upscaling is PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR, an AI-driven upscaling that uses a machine learning-based technology to provide super sharp image clarity by adding an extraordinary amount of detail.
I think the Xbox does something similar with their backwards compatibility. They up-res everything with AI.
Yeah. What's up to Ty in the chat? Now, Ty does point out that, according to Digital Foundry and some other tech reviewers, gamers cannot build a PC equivalent to the PS5 Pro for $700.
Yeah. I feel like it's always been like that. The consoles are way cheaper than the PC equivalent.
Well, no, I know why he's bringing this point up. So his point is in regards to a lot of people are saying that the PS5 Pro is so expensive you might as well buy a PC, which I do agree with to an extent, but not fully, but we'll get there. Other features included in the console, PS5 Pro Game Boost for backwards compatible titles. Kind of sounds like what Xbox does with their back compat, how it upgrades it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
It'll feature Wi-Fi 7 and VRR and 8K. Although, based off things we're going to talk about later, I don't think they're doing 8K anytime soon. So that's the PS5 Pro, the details behind it. Like I said, launching, I think it was November. Whoops. I definitely read it out loud, but just, November 7th for $700. I just still kind of find it hard to, justify who it's for. Because, you could say it's for, a high-end customer, but I really do feel, even if it's not comparable, I feel like at $700, if you're willing to drop $700 at this point, I gotta think that you're probably in a ballpark where you're willing to buy a PC. I just feel that way. And I just think that, the big nail in the coffin for it, for me personally, is, when is the PS6 coming out? Are you going to spend $700 to get, a year and a half, 2 years out of your platform? Or is Sony not going to bring out the PS6 in, 2 years? Which would be about the time you would expect it to be. I think that that's a really big question, and one that, and don't get me wrong, I would say this for Xbox, too. I would not spend $700 on a Pro Xbox right now. I just don't think it's really super justifiable, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a little weird it being a mid-gen console because nothing's going to come out exclusive to this console.
Mm-mm.
So I don't think it's necessary for anyone to buy. No one should feel like they have to buy this.
Yeah, completely agree.
But I do think this is for the hardcore people who have, they get the best TV. They want to play their games looking the best. Computer parts are only getting more expensive. So, it's kind of like whatever the next gen console generation will be, it's going to be no cheaper than $650. I feel like this is kind of...
That was actually going to be my next question. Do you think this sets a precedent?
It does set a precedent, yeah. But I do think it's a precedent that was coming. I said this a while ago that because Xbox, they sell their consoles at a loss. I think the next generation, they're not going to do that.
Most consoles sell. I think everybody sells it at a loss.
Yeah,
Xbox.
Yeah, but I think Xbox takes the biggest hit. Having the strongest console and having it at a competitive price, I do think they take the biggest hit. I think they're going to take a smaller hit next time because it just feels like consoles aren't their priority. So they're putting the price on us.
Well, I think PlayStation is going to do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm not saying
it's going to be outpriced. You're going to feel you're going to feel sticker shock when you see the PS6 price.
I agree with that.
Ty says it's for game. Who's it for? I feel gamers say this a lot when something isn't for them. Sony doesn't have to sell a lot of these consoles. It's a luxury product that will match demand.
I agree with that too because it is a mid-gen console and nobody's being left out by not buying this.
Yeah, I mean, don't get it twisted. When I say who it's for, not everything needs to cater to me. I fully understand that. But, I mean, I'm just looking at it from an analytical perspective. It's just
I also feel like a lot of new gamers, I don't think are getting this. I think this is people who are trading in their PS5, getting back, $400 for their PS5 and spending an additional $300, $400 to get the PS5 Pro.
Maybe. Precedent. Ty says it will not set a precedent. Sony will not release a PS6 console that's $800, $900. The profits are in the game sales, not game consoles.
Maybe not 800, 900, but I think the PS6 and the next whatever Xbox is going to be will be about $700.
I agree with Dev, actually. I think that they may not overprice it, but I think that Xbox and PlayStation are probably done selling consoles at a loss.
At least not as big as a loss.
I don't know. I think
so?
I think straight up. I think you're seeing it right now where the problem is, right, where like the games industry, you look at the most played games, right, and they're all games that came out 6 years ago. Like, the Fortnites, like, etc. We talk about this all the time. I'm not going to go through the list every time. But, like, these games that, like, everyone's playing, like, software is what sells, yes. And so, like, if people are buying these consoles, and maybe they buy it for a GTA 6, maybe they buy it for one killer app, and then they just go back to the 6 games they've been playing for the last 10 years, they're not going to make a lot of money that way. And I just think that, like, I think a lot of people are blaming Xbox for this inadvertently. And I am, like, really kind of inclined to agree, because what you're seeing, and we talked about this with PlayStation last week, where, they started charging $5 more for the DualSense. Like, I don't ever remember a console or a controller going up in price, not down.
I agree with
Especially
that.
this many years into the console's life cycle, right? Regardless, DualSense is a great controller, but still, raising a price just seems crazy to me. So, like, when I look at it, and it's just like, Xbox has lost their competitive edge, I think, at this point. Does that mean that they're packing it up and, like, torching the ecosystem down? No, I don't think that's what that means. But it's just like, the ecosystem is not their concern, like, their top priority anymore. And I think that because of that, you're going to continue to see PlayStation throw their weight around. PlayStation can gladly charge $700. Hell, PlayStation could have charged $800, $900, and I think it would have been the exact same outcome. I don't think it would have changed much of how many it sells, how much people are upset, how many people want it, how many people don't. Like, I don't think it would have mattered. And I just think PlayStation now is going to run unopposed in competition. So then they're going to do whatever they want. They're going to charge whatever they want for these consoles, including the PS6 to come in the future. And I think Xbox, who is going to continue to be in the market, is going to follow the market leader, and they're going to raise their prices as well.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to worry about being super competitive. At least, I mean, they might. Maybe they turn it around next generation, and they're like, we were just trying to coast through last generation because we knew what was going on. I don't know.
But it also gives them an excuse to have the Series S still. The Series S will... I think everything will go up in price, but, like, the Series S will probably be $600, and the Series X, whatever that next generation is, will probably be about $700.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see what it's priced at, but, I mean, yeah, it's going to be expensive, and I don't think it's going to... Again, like, timing, I know you say it's ridiculous that they're not going to do 800, 900, but, like, hypothetically speaking, like, what's going to stop PlayStation from doing that as opposed to 700?
Yeah.
Because this is just a mid-gen upgrade. Like, usually the mid-gen upgrade is like, hey, anyone we didn't get on board yet, like, we want to get them in. And it's like you said, like, I don't see anybody who doesn't have a PS5 yet being like, all right, I'm dropping $700 here.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. Which is why I get back to, like, who is it for? Moving on to our next, like, sub-topic with the PS5 Pro. Now, as I said earlier, the PS5 Pro does not come with a disk drive. It is being sold separately. And that disk drive, which is priced at $80, by the way, mind you, is selling out at online retailers. After the reveal last Tuesday of the PS5 Pro, it was made clear that in order to get a disk drive for the new console, you'd have to purchase the external drive. Since then, as spotted online by the great Wario64, the peripheral has been selling out everywhere. As of the writing of this article from Insider Gaming, the drive is number 8 on Amazon's best sellers for video games. On Best Buy's website, you can't even order the drive anymore as it's currently sold out. It is still available on sites like Target, Walmart, and PlayStation Direct, though. The external drive was made available when the new PS5 Slim consoles were announced and released last year. Moving forward, it seems clear that if you want to play physical media on your consoles, you're going to have to buy an add-on. I mean, I'm mixed about this because obviously, number one, it's nice to know that there are still people out there that want to do the physical, and like this thing sold out, which tells me that there is still, in fact, a market that hey, people still want to buy physical. You should continue to offer that as an option, even if it does get lower.
Mm-hmm. I kind of like that. It's an option to get, and you don't have to worry about the power of the console. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
I want Xbox to kind of go this route, or sell the console and then sell the disc drive maybe as an attachment or something as an add-on, or
Why?
because I don't like the series. I don't like that. It feels like Xbox has been out, and it doesn't feel like any game that's been out so far uses the entire power of the Xbox Series X.
What does the disc drive have to do with that?
Because the only other version of an Xbox doesn't have like the weakest version of an Xbox.
I don't get the point. I don't get the correlation of why you don't want them to have disc drives.
No,
I'm not trying. I'm not.
No,
I'm just,
have
I
a
just
disc.
don't understand.
Have a disc drive, but like, I don't know, sell it separately.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to figure out because you said that it was good. And it was power based. What does the disc drive being in the unit built in have to do with the power of the console?
Oh no, I was just thinking of the Series S versus
Series
the Series
S
X.
doesn't have a disc drive, sure, but that
Yeah.
doesn't. That was just because they were trying to make a cheaper alternative for the generation.
Yeah, but
So they cut out everything that they wanted to while still keeping it somewhat on par with the Series X. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, so it's selling out on retail.
hopefully they make more.
I hope so too. And then this is another thing about the PS5 Pro that really like I think for me this is like a huge thing that like I've seen some people talking about. I don't think enough people are talking about this, especially because you look at the promise of what the PS5 Pro is. So Sony officially unveiled the PS5 Pro. It's a powerful console with a hefty price tag. With lack of games on the horizon, talk has turned to GTA 6 being the only title that would sway people to invest in a PS5 Pro. That's something we've talked about here ad nauseum at this point. That PS5 Pro, or I'm sorry, GTA 6 is going to sell the Pro. It's going to sell Series X. It's going to sell PS5 units, even base ones. Like, it's going to make people upgrade to this generation.
Yeah.
Because both PlayStation 4 and Xbox One users, there's still a lot of them. They're not upgrading because, again, they're playing those 6 games and they're staying with it.
Mm-hmm.
So people are looking towards GTA 6 as that game, but Digital Foundry is suggesting that it might not even... GTA 6 might not run at 60 frames per second on the PS5 Pro. It's been almost a year since Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer was released, and fans are waiting patiently for another update. When the trailer was published back in December 2023, it broke viewership records, but then Rockstar was plunged into silence. Following the reveal of the PS5 Pro, IGN sat down with Digital Foundry to grill tech experts on the expectations of the console running GTA 6. To that end, Richard Ledbetter, the technology editor at DF, explained, Grand Theft Auto games have always run complex simulations that push the CPU hard, which is why every GTA game has initially launched on their target platform at 30 frames per second or lower. The PS5 Pro uses the same CPU as the PS5, and it would be extremely challenging to hit 60 frames per second if the base PS5 version is targeting 30. This isn't a GPU problem, it's a CPU problem. Of course, all bets are off if Rockstar is targeting 60 frames per second on the standard PS5, but we've seen no evidence so far to suggest this, he says. So, Dev, do you think that this is a real shot, negatively speaking, an impact to the PS5 Pro, knowing that, like, unless Rockstar can make it run 60 frames per second on hardware that already exists, it won't run at 60 frames per second on the PS5 Pro?
Yeah, I guess so.
Real quick in the chat, what's up to Lotus? Lotus, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, what's up?
What's going on? Lotus, what are your thoughts on the PS5 Pro possibly not being able to hit 60 frames per second with GTA 6? A big seller, or at least what people are expecting to be a big seller.
Yeah.
I think this is a huge blow to the platform for the PS5 Pro.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's going to run exactly the same frames wise, which that's kind of the whole point, right?
That and being up-res. I mean, I think it's going to look probably the best.
I think the up-res is going to look great on any of the consoles. I mean, I don't think that's the issue. The issue, I think, is more with the PS5 and Xbox Series X. The problem is more so games hitting 60 frames. I don't think that really there's a lot of issues with resolution on either console. Correct me if you disagree.
No, but you still have to... Developers still have to develop for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. But I don't know. It's just... I think that's a big loss for them, and maybe they find a way to make it work, but I mean, Digital Foundry know their stuff. So if they're telling me it's probably not going to happen, then...
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm going to assume. Lotus says ridiculous. They will not buy it, and they literally buy everything. Lotus, I'm the same way. I buy practically everything.
Yeah.
Devereaux can vouch for me. I buy everything. I'm not getting a PS5 Pro though. I don't think it's worth the $700. I don't think it's worth it, especially considering like you have to assume the PS6 is 2 years away. No, like you got to think it's something like that.
That's true. Yeah, technically it'll still be best if you want it on console. Actually, it's not even on PC. There's no rumors of it being on PC. So I think if you wanted to play it the best, it's going to be PS5 Pro, and that's going to be the advertisement.
Yeah, but I think if it's not running 60, like there's more justification where you can look at it and be like, Microsoft can turn right around and say like Xbox Series S is the cheapest way to play it.
Oh, sure.
And if none of it's running 60, but the resolution is still there, I just don't see it as that big of a get for PlayStation and the PS5 Pro.
I think it'll still look sharper on PS5 Pro than it will on anything else. I mean, they have the power.
I mean, yeah. You're correct. I agree with that. I just don't know if it's going to be enough where you're talking about like, oh, that justifies the $700. Like, is there a tangible way for them to say, hey, this is why? And people like the buzzwords and the numbers, and it's like if you say, hey, this is running at 60 frames per second, people are going to go, oh, okay, nice, very nice. But if you're saying like, well, it's a little smoother and it looks a little bit better and it performs a little bit better, people are going to be like, well, I mean, that doesn't really tell me anything. And like, I'm just speculating how I view consumers,
especially when you have like every year when a game comes out on both consoles, IGN or other places will put up gameplay from Xbox Series X versus PS5 Pro, and they compare it and like.
Well, they're trying to usually find the frames and stuff in there too.
Yeah,
that's the whole point. But I get what you're saying. Another little thing about the PS5 Pro is it's going to enhance PSVR 2 games. If you're still playing PSVR 2 games, eventually, according to Mark Cerny, the architect, who told CNET the $700 console, improved GPU power will allow for higher resolution games on PSVR 2. Which I think is great. That, I mean, they're not really supporting it, and they're trying to dump it, but cool. And lastly, Dev, this is one of probably the biggest news stories we've ever covered here on the podcast. Big reveal from Sony alongside the PS5 Pro. Sony has announced Pro version of boots for Jeff Keighley to lick. In the wake of their announcement of a Pro version of the PS5, Sony executives have also announced they will be donning a Pro version of their boots to usher in the next generation of Jeff Keighley licking them.
I don't know about that story.
We could never forget about Jeff, said Sony executive Ike Cassidy in a press release.
Did he say that?
That's what Ike Cassidy said.
Okay.
He's been with us for years, whether our boots are clean or full of absolute filth. He licks them with a smile on his face. So when we decided to make a Pro version of our gameless console that offers little to no value proposition to consumers, we knew that we needed a Pro version of our boots as well to offer him a slight and almost invisible to the naked eye upgrade in performance to his licking.
I don't know if we should be spreading this news, this fake news. We gotta say allegedly.
First of all, my sources are credible.
Okay.
I didn't write this. This isn't me. I'm just reporting the news.
Okay.
All right? Hold on. Let's go to Lotus in the chat. Lotus says that they love their Series S and play everything on performance mode. Gran Turismo 7 already runs great on PSVR 2. The Pro is not needed and will alienate some customers. I agree with Lotus. I mean, I have my Series X.
I don't think it'll alienate anyone.
I think that people are alienated by the price tag, though.
Yeah,
I think it rubs people the wrong way.
But, like, if you don't get a PS5 Pro, you're not being left out. Every game that still comes out on PS5 comes out on PS5 Pro. So you're not being alienated. This is just, do you have spare money you have like an extra $700 in your pocket that you want to throw down for games to look a little bit better.
Yeah.
That's all this is.
I mean, you're not wrong in that regards, but I still think people can feel a little bit alienated by it. $700, it's a lot of money. Anyways, back to this article. PS5 Pro architect Mark Cerny also helped with the upgraded boots for the executives and spoke about the process of designing them. Well, the previous boots offered up a wonderful base to start from, he says. You can see from all of Jeff's previous bootlicking just how great those boots performed. But obviously, as the competition gets more defeatist and Sony grows more arrogant...
How long are you going to just read this fake story?
What are you talking about? It becomes harder for Keighley to keep pace with the bootlicking needed. We knew that releasing a $700 machine that only has 2 exclusives and nothing to truly show off what it can do would require boots that could sustain a quadruple amount of bootlicking from the face of gaming to help them get through the more gullible consumers. Keighley himself is very thankful for the upgrade of his corporate bootlicking ability. Quote, "You know I bootlick for a lot of companies, and it gets really tough a lot of the time," Jeff Keighley says.
Oh, gosh.
What?
Nothing.
I'm just reading the news headlines. I don't make this stuff up.
All right. Next you're going to say Sony's eating pets. I mean, you're just moving in that direction. I don't know.
Deborah, I just report the news.
Okay.
Whether I'm avoiding talk of layoffs, or crunch, or mass harassment, and just gassing up releases that are 5 years away and only have 30-second cinematic teasers, it's strenuous. And the boots these other execs wear take their toll on my tongue's processing power. But with Sony's new Pro boots, I can bootlick as much as 14 tweets defending a poor product presentation in the span of an hour without even feeling an ounce of disgust in myself. It's great. End quote.
Allegedly. We got to say allegedly.
It's not allegedly. It's all reporting. At press time, Jeff Keighley is reportedly adding a Best Pro
Allegedly. Go ahead.
Jeff Keighley is reportedly adding a Best Pro PS5 console category to the Game Awards. Deborah, which PS5 Pro console do you think will win PS5 Pro console of the year?
Probably the one with the stand. I think you pay an extra $30. You would expect
And
that
$80
one
too for the disc drive.
Yeah, for the disc drive.
Whatever you spend the most money on
Yeah.
as a consumer. Now, Devereaux, this is from the harddrive.net. Wonderful, wonderful reporting over at harddrive.net. For those that aren't aware, this is in hard drive is basically the Onion of gaming. I just thought it was too hilarious not to share that article.
Yeah.
Now, the reason, Dev, that this was created was because while everybody was upset about the PS5 Pro, Jeff Keighley, in a matter of an hour, made 6 tweets. Number one, defending the platform. Like, oh, that's not that bad. So it's just $700, guys. What are you talking about here? And then he went on to say he listed prices of all the past PlayStation consoles and like calculating inflation, which that's a lot of legwork for just one random dude on the internet to do, even if you're like the head of video games. Lot of defending there. And then people pointed out that all the other PlayStation consoles that he posted the price tags of, with inflation included, they all had disk drives and they all came with their vertical stands. And so, yeah, I mean, I have my issues with Jeff Keighley in general. I mean, I think if you want to try to like be like the face of video games and have a show for all, like there is a lot of like an obscene amount of bias, and it's just like I don't know, it rubs me the wrong way. This dude won't talk about things like layoffs. He won't talk about things in the industry that seem to matter to everyone. Never tweets a single thing of excitement about anything. Even when Xbox does good stuff, never anything like that. But when this PS5 Pro comes out at $700, he is ready to fucking go. I can't stand Jeff Keighley, and I loved that article too much not to share it. But so yeah, that's basically what's going on with the PS5 Pro. It's coming out November 7th for $700. If you want to buy it, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, best to you. I mean, I will not be buying it though.
I will say I'd rather a company put out another console than for it to like slowly be killing off its ecosystem. Like if I had to choose on what side to be on, if there's a side.
I mean, you're not really killing your ecosystem. What do you mean?
I mean, Xbox is slowly like Microsoft. I don't know. They're slowly. It feels like they're killing off their ecosystem. I don't know if they are, but it really feels like it. But they're part of the reason that this is even happening.
Yes, I agree with that part.
Yeah,
because
and it's
being
like
so uncompetitive.
Yeah, they're being so uncompetitive. They're not really pushing consoles anymore. It's Game Pass seems like we talked about it every week. They're becoming publishers. They're becoming a gaming publisher studio, and it's just like I don't know. I don't know what's worse, a $700 console or like.
Well, the big number that Xbox reportedly really is going to continue to look at is their monthly active users. If that number starts to dip, then you would have to you think or assume, it's been speculated at least. I know the way I said that was.
No, but you're right though. You're like.
Well, no, because like a lot like Jess Corey and a lot of the insiders are like, hey, they're looking at monthly active users.
Yeah.
If this number starts to go down,
they'll put out another.
They'll probably they pivot.
Yeah.
And like we have to see. Unfortunately, that's just kind of where.
But the thing is, it's not going down. Every year, Game Pass is rising and rising, and we just see the numbers going up and up.
The problem is Game Pass actually isn't rising as much as we think. I think I have something in an article about that
Just
later.
just a few,
We'll get into Game Pass. I don't want to go too far into Game Pass because there is talk for.
but not even just Game Pass. Remember we talked about their revenue, how much they made in the last quarter. It was like the most they've ever made, and it went up like it was like what 90 something percent. It was like 50%.
Yeah,
which
but that
is
was
crazy.
But to be fair, that was all an influx from the Activision Blizzard cash. Come next year, that number is not going to be plus 60% or whatever it was. It's going to be like,
it
hey,
might
we
be.
had Activision for a year. I mean, unless they actually like grow in like that much.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing. These pumped up numbers are going.
We have to see things after Call of Duty.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to see what Call of Duty does to Game Pass. We got to see what it does to those things. Lotus got the PS5 or the PS Slim for $349 in the holiday, and it works just fine.
Yeah.
But let's move on to number 2 in the headlines. Kind of a crazy story this week. You posted a screenshot of what I had said about GTA 6 being the series finale of video games. Like, the games industry's cooked after that. And this was one of those headlines that, like, you posted, and I was like, man, I was so right. I was right. I tried to warn everybody. Annapurna Interactive's video game team, the entire team, has resigned, leaving partners scrambling. The entire staff of Annapurna Interactive, the video game publishing division of Megan Ellison's Annapurna Studio, resigned this month following a dispute with its owner. Annapurna Interactive president Nathan Gary had his team had been negotiating with Ellison, the daughter of billionaire Larry Ellison, to spin off the video game division as an independent entity. When Ellison pulled out of the negotiations, Gary and other executives resigned and were followed by around 24 other staffers. All 25 members of the Annapurna Interactive team collectively resigned, Gary and the group said in a joint statement.
Damn.
This was one of the hardest decisions we've ever had to make, and we did not take this action lightly. A spokesperson for Annapurna confirmed that it had explored a spin-off and that the parties failed to reach an agreement, which led to the resignations. Our top priority is continuing to support our developer and publishing partners during this transition, Ellison said in a statement to Bloomberg News. We're committed to not only our existing slate of games, but also expanding our presence in the interactive space as we continue to look for opportunities to take a more integrated approach to linear and interactive storytelling across film, TV, gaming, and theater. The exodus has led to chaos as game developers partner with Annapurna try to figure out what this means for their upcoming projects. As a publisher, Annapurna is responsible not only for funding the games, but for handling services such as quality assurance, adapting the products for local markets, and marketing. Over the past few days, game makers working with Annapurna have scrambled to find new points of contact and figure out whether the company will continue to honor its agreements. The spokesperson said that all existing games and projects will remain under Annapurna. New president Hector Sanchez has told developers that the company will honor existing contracts and replace staff who have left, according to people who asked not to be identified because of conversations were private. Sanchez, originally a co-founder of Annapurna, was brought back last month. Annapurna's video game division has developed a reputation for publishing critically acclaimed titles by made by small teams, racking up awards with games such as Outer Wilds, which is phenomenal, Stray, phenomenal, Cocoon, phenomenal. Last month, Annapurna announced a deal to partner with the Finnish gaming company Remedy to bring critically acclaimed Control and Alan Wake franchises to film and TV. The Hollywood Reporter said that Annapurna's Interactive top executives had quit, but not that entire team had departed. What a blow. So obviously, we were talking about this before we went live. I mean, I do worry about the projects that were through Annapurna, and like they're such a great publisher. Mixtape is one for me that like they announced that at the Xbox showcase back in June, and like I really hope to God that this game gets made.
I agree.
I mean, I think if it's like if it becomes in jeopardy, I would love to see Xbox kind of like step in. They had it on their stage, so it's like I would love to see them like come in like, hey, like we were already bringing this game to Game Pass, like let's support this studio and get this game out the door. Whatever you guys need, we'll help out. I think that would be a great thing for them to do, especially definitely would help their PR standing. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Lotus says that they're grandfathered into $10.99 Game Pass, and it includes day one games.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Great job.
Don't ever lose that.
Yeah, so that means So were you Game Pass console? I'm guessing that's what you had, because standard's now a thing, which we'll be talking about that later as well. But yeah, this is a real devastating loss for what's going on at Annapurna. Hopefully they can figure it out and these games can get made.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, that's really what my biggest concern would be.
I have some of their games up. A Memoir Blue, Neon White,
Yeah.
Stray, Cocoon.
Just all phenomenal games.
Yeah. Thirsty Suitors.
Yeah.
Open Roads.
Open Roads was great. I played Open Roads this year.
Yeah.
That was great.
They got a bunch here that Wonder Stop, which I think I'm excited for that one too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this sucks.
Yeah. Hopefully they can make the games they want to make. You know. All right, number 3 in the headlines. Microsoft, man, those great guys at Microsoft. They woke up and they laid off 650 more employees. Microsoft is laying off around 650 employees in its gaming division today. The latest cuts come some months after Microsoft laid off 1,900 Activision Blizzard and Xbox employees, and after the closure of several game studios, including Redfall developer Arcane Austin. Xbox chief Phil Spencer announced the layoffs to employees in an internal memo this morning. Well, not this morning, but a couple days ago. Seen by The Verge. The cuts are related to the Activision Blizzard deal, and Spencer makes it clear in his email that no games, devices, or experiences are being canceled, and no studios are being closed as part of the layoffs today. As part of aligning our post-acquisition team structure and managing our business, we have made the decision to eliminate approximately 650 roles across Microsoft Gaming, mostly corporate and supporting functions, to organize our business for long-term success, says Spencer. Microsoft completed its $68.7 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard in October, following months of battles with regulators. Here's Phil Spencer's memo in full. For the past year, our goal has been to minimize disruption while welcoming new teams and enabling them to do their best work. As part of aligning our post-acquisition team structure and managing our business, we've made the decision to eliminate approximately 650 roles across Microsoft Gaming, mostly corporate and supporting functions, to organize our business for long-term success. I know that this is difficult news to hear. We are deeply grateful for the contributions of our colleagues who are learning they are impacted. In the U.S., we're supporting them with exit packages that include severance, extended healthcare, and outplacement services to help with their transition. Outside the U.S., packages will differ according to location. With these changes, our corporate and supporting teams and resources are aligned for sustainable future growth and can better support our studio teams and business units with programs and resources that can scale to meet their needs. Separately, as part of running the business, there are some impacts to other teams as they adapt to shifting priorities and managing the life cycle and performance of games. No games, devices, or experiences are being canceled, and no studios are being closed as part of these adjustments today. Throughout our team's history, we have had great moments and we've had challenging ones. Today is one of the challenging days. I know that going through more changes like this is hard, but even in the most trying times, this team has been able to come together and show one another care and kindness as we work to continue delivering for our players. We appreciate your support as we navigate these changes, and we thank you for your compassion and respect for each other. Phil. I mean, what can you say? It's another 650 people. So 2,500 laid off at Xbox this year.
Yeah.
I know that people like Ty are gonna, defend it. I mean, obviously, you can't defend when you cut 2,000 jobs. I mean, it's just like, what more can you say? It's just not much you can say, I guess. I do wonder. I mean, it's definitely kind of feeds into the FTC's argument that Xbox was going to lay off a lot of employees. I mean, it sucks because obviously I really want Call of Duty and stuff on Game Pass, and but Xbox still not having most of this Activision catalog on Game Pass is to this point just an embarrassing failure of theirs. But man, I kind of really do wish that Xbox hadn't actually bought Activision. It's such a regretful thing because it's just Activision was such a poorly run company. I figured it's man, surely this will be for the best, and it's really been detrimental to games in general. I mean, Xbox is getting less competitive as a platform holder, which means PlayStation's going to run away with more things. It's just domino effect. It was just not good things happening in general, and all these layoffs definitely go into it. Some other things to note from Steven Totillo about the layoffs. In addition to merger-related cuts, a source familiar with Steven Totillo tells him that Microsoft laid off workers on its Warcraft Rumble and Call of Duty Warzone mobile teams. Warcraft Rumble is moving to post-launch live ops. Warzone mobile didn't hit as big as they'd hoped. Neither game is going offline, but a lot of the layoffs, it's not a lot, some of the layoffs came from those teams. Do you have anything to add about the Xbox layoffs?
No, we kind of knew more layoffs were coming. We knew that there were. I mean, it does feel like they're slowing down, but.
So the following, sorry, what?
No, it's just another hit.
Yeah. So the following is coming from The Verge. This was kind of a follow-up piece that was done. Microsoft's Xbox turmoil isn't slowing down. In a week when Xbox fans were hoping to hear a response from Microsoft to the PS5 Pro, software giant is making a third round of gaming layoffs instead. Part of the continued cuts at Xbox after Microsoft's $68.7 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Microsoft cut 1,900 jobs earlier this year. It acquired part of its $7.5 billion. It shuttered 4 studios it acquired as part of the $7.5 billion Bethesda acquisition back in May. Thankfully, Hi-Fi Rush studio Tango Gameworks was eventually saved from Microsoft's shutdown after Krafton, the studio behind PUBG and the Callisto Protocol, acquired the Japanese studio from Microsoft instead. Oh man, I had this set up in a way, but I can't read the rest of the article. There was other things about like the Xbox team. Well, I guess I can't use that. Never mind.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. You had to like subscribe to something.
Yeah, it's weird. Let me read it. Last time I opened it, there was actually some interesting news bits in that, but I don't have it, so never mind. Oops. I guess we're just gonna move on. Sorry about that. Number 4 in the headlines. Tony Hawk. We talked about this last week. Tony Hawk is officially talking to Activision. Could the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series be making a comeback? In a new episode of Mythical Kitchen, released on Thursday, the legendary skateboarder was asked about the future of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater franchise as it celebrates its 25th anniversary this year. Hawk said that there is definitely something planned to celebrate the anniversary. However, he wouldn't say much more beyond that. He says, "I wish I could tell you more, but I can tell you I've been talking to Activision again, which is insanely exciting. We're working on something." After a bit more back and forth, Hawk wrapped up with saying that he believes it'll be something that the fans will truly appreciate. So we don't know what exactly that's going to entail. If I was Xbox, I think something really easy to do would just put all the games on Game Pass. What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't get it.
The 25th anniversary is the end of this month.
They have to.
Like, just do it. Just put, oh my god, like just put all the Tony Hawk games on Game Pass. A lot of these games are like 25 years old.
Yeah.
I was going to say decades old. It's 25th anniversary. It is just the most like exhausting thing. Like, here's the thing, right?
You have the games and you have the platform to put them out.
Here's my thing. I'm somebody that wants Xbox, that wants the old Call of Duty games on Xbox. But I can understand. I don't agree with the concept. I can understand you being worried to do that because you don't want to affect your new Call of Duty sales. I can understand that. I disagree with it, but I can understand it. What I can't understand is why there's been so few Xbox games from the back catalog where it's like, you don't got to drop them all at once. You could trickle it a little bit more. Like, here's the thing. You've put out Diablo 4, Crash Bandicoot 4, and Modern Warfare 3, and that's it. 3 games. One of those games, admittedly, honestly, not very good. Modern Warfare 3. But, like, you can't sit here and celebrate this 25th anniversary. Like, it would be cheaper and easier to put these games on Game Pass than
to work on anything new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, it just seems
and
like
people would be okay with that. People, like,
brainer to me.
Yeah.
It just seems psychotic. That it's just like, they've become so fucking greedy and so just fucking bloated that they can't even see, like, oh, let's just put these games on Game Pass. Like, that's how bad it's gotten. If we're sitting here, like, 2 months from now, right? and we don't have any Tony Hawk games on Game Pass. I don't even know. Like at that point, right? Knowing the reality of it, they'll put like the newest one on there, which is better than nothing, but also like not really acceptable. It's just like, why can't you just put all the games on Game Pass? Like, what is stopping you? Like, I understand it takes a little bit of work, but like, what have you guys been doing this whole time?
Yeah.
Has nobody been working on these Game Pass ports?
I want to believe. I have to believe that people are working on them, right? Right?
I'm just gonna keep playing Octopath Traveler. That's what I'm doing right now. Playing Octopath Traveler.
Yeah, he is playing.
I'm grinding Octopath Traveler levels as we talk about video games here, because I'm trying to get done this game. Anyways, I actually am. That's not a bit. Deborah's.
Yeah, no, it's on the screen right now.
I'm currently grinding, so I'm like doing a battle like every other headline that we do. I don't know. I hope they do something with it, because it's honestly driving me fucking insane that we still don't have these Xbox games on Game Pass. Like, that was like what I was expecting, right? Like, it's all like Jesus Christ.
It doesn't feel like it's a lot to expect. You know what I mean? You're not asking for much.
Yeah, I'm really not. Like, number 5 on the headlines. As we were talking about earlier with Lotus, the new Xbox Game Pass standard tier is now available for all. I guess it's not really a positive thing. It's not really a positive headline. It's definitely painted as one, I guess. But excuse me. The service's latest membership tier includes access to a back catalog of hundreds of games and online console multiplayer, but no day one first-party releases or cloud gaming. Replacing the now retired Game Pass for console tier, the standard plan is available for $14.99 a month. So for more money, you can get less.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Game Pass standard is worth getting, but I think like it's kind of like them kind of forcing you to get Ultimate. Like, you might as well get Ultimate at that point. Honestly, what I would do, and I think Jess Corden said this too, but I completely agree. I would get rid of Game Pass standard, and I would get rid of maybe not Game Pass Core, because I understand how Core, like, standard doesn't make any sense to have. I would get rid of it, Game Pass standard. I would have Core, and I'd have Ultimate. Those are the two tiers.
In PC. I know that's separate, but
I would just have Game Pass Ultimate be both. I mean, like, that's
it's cheaper for someone who doesn't even play on consoles.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
You need
that's
that.
the thing. That's the thing.
And you're getting separate games.
But here's the thing about my thought process is that it even works out for Xbox in a way where they can make more money by making it make more sense. You have Game Pass Core, and you have Game Pass Ultimate. And then cloud streaming is not a part of Game Pass Ultimate, but you could charge extra to have the streaming. But you lower the price of Ultimate without it. That's what I would do, honestly. I just think Game Pass standard is...
Unless you're lowering it to the price of current PC Game Pass.
I don't know PC Game Pass, but maybe what Game Pass... The Game Pass standard is $15
Yeah, so like
now.
if you're on PC, you just get it. You pay more money for games that you're not even going to play. Like,
what I'm saying is, I would have Game Pass Core available for $10, and it gives you online multiplayer for the console, and it gives you like 25 games that they'll cycle through.
No, yeah, that makes
every
sense.
like 6 months. You'll get a few new, and a few will get taken off.
I get that.
You keep that $10 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Game Pass Ultimate $15 a month. It's everything that it is now minus the cloud streaming. For an extra $5, you can up your Game Pass Ultimate. It's like an add-on, a la carte, to $20 a month, which it currently is at, and it can have the cloud streaming. That's what I would do. That's what I would do.
I don't know if I like that, but...
Well, you've been wrong before, so...
Well, you've been wrong many times. So.
I've never been wrong. What would you do? Tell me. What would you do? Go ahead.
I think Core and Ultimate,
Is
yes.
Ty here? Is Ty here? Listen to this. Listen.
No, Core, Ultimate, and PC. Standard just doesn't seem like it's worth it. Like you said, you're paying more and you're getting less.
Not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Core, Ultimate, and Standard. And PC.
I just don't see it, like, they wouldn't keep PC at that point.
Why not?
Because I don't think
they're keeping it now.
That's because they still have standard. Like, it just makes sense for the pricing tiers. Anyways. Ty thinks that they should keep standard for individuals who want a subscription service. I mean, if you take the first party games out of there, I don't think it's really that much worth it. I mean,
that's what you're losing, right? You're losing first party games, right?
Right. Like there are great games on Game Pass Ultimate or on Game Pass that are not first party games. There are phenomenal games like Octopath Traveler, for example. But like I don't know. Like I think the whole point is to get the Xbox games.
If you're gonna keep standard, then get rid of core.
Yeah, I think
or find a way to merge standard and core together.
Yeah, I just think
because if you're not getting first party games either way, that's one of the biggest selling points to Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna have a cheaper version, I just don't see why you have two cheaper versions.
Yeah. All right. Next up, number 6, the Black Ops 6 beta was Call of Duty's biggest beta to date. According to publisher Activision, the beta ranked first for a total number of players, the total number of hours played, and the most matches played. Activision said it also ranked first in terms of amount of play time per player, suggesting engagement was strong amongst participants. I mean, I could attest to this. I definitely spent more time on the Black Ops 6 beta than I had on previous Call of Duty betas. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I think the fast-paced stuff, we'll see how I'm feeling about it like 2 months down the line if I get a little tired of it. But I enjoyed it for what it was, and it's definitely justified.
I think a lot of people enjoyed it. I think that's a good sign for Call of Duty. It needed this.
Yeah.
So
I also wonder how much the Game Pass numbers affected that. Because, I mean, also keep in mind, these betas have been exclusive to one platform for a long time. So it's not the most insane thought process to think like, well, it was available for Xbox customers, it was available for Game Pass customers. You know, it's not necessarily like the most insane thing to conceive that it was not in part to that.
I would even imagine Xbox saw a boost in Game Pass just for this beta.
I'm really curious about that too. So one of the things that that The Verge had reported that I couldn't read was that Xbox is really banking on this Call of Duty for Game Pass because subscribers have not grown to the numbers that they want them to be at. So they're really looking at this Call of Duty to see like what it can be. My problem with it is that they aren't really marketing it for Game Pass.
Yeah.
And again, it's just like,
I wonder if that was part of the deal though.
What deal? What's the part of the what do you mean?
Yeah, I guess.
Like what deal? They own Activision. There is no deal. Like it's just they just don't want it. Like they're just not pushing it. And it's like honestly, it this is going to sound weird to say because it's not like they're not doing well. Xbox, I mean. But like this is something I would criticize PlayStation for. Where it's like there's no commitment here on anything at all. It's just like, well, we have Game Pass. Call of Duty's going to be on Game Pass. Oh, are you going to promote it? Are you going to like market it, support it, push it?
But if they can,
are the other Xbox Activision games coming to Game Pass? Oh, yeah, Game Pass is our thing. It's Game Pass. It's like, okay, well, what are you doing to support Game Pass so it can grow?
I can't blame Sony for that.
No, I'm not blaming Sony. What I'm saying, I'm comparing it to something that Sony would do, where Sony would like abandon hardware. No, Sony doesn't. They don't. They abandon the Vita. They abandon PSVR.
Oh, sure, but
that's what I'm comparing it to. Their own.
When they had special
service.
deals with Sony, everyone knew.
Yeah,
you saw a Call of Duty trailer, and then at the end you saw played on PlayStation.
Yes. Okay, maybe it wasn't the best example, but my point was that usually I criticize PlayStation for not going all in on something. This is something that Xbox, for some reason, is just not like making up their mind on. Like you could still sell your copies on PlayStation. You could still sell your copies to non-Game Pass users. You could sell them on PC. You could sell them on whatever. But like, shouldn't that be a thing? Shouldn't there be like a major push here where it's like
it just feels like
it's like play day one call with Xbox Game Pass
Xbox
or
has been, like,
save money with Xbox Game Pass. Like
it's
just
really
like,
weird because
they're just not supporting it. And it's just like
they're doing it they're doing a lot. Like you don't see trailers for their games. You don't see.
That's true though.
I don't get it.
I don't know. It just doesn't. There's no logic behind it. There's no thought process. And again, like I just think that they've really lost their competitive edge. It's like
do you think it's a budgeting thing for advertisement or like
maybe in terms of what's allotted to the marketing team?
Yeah.
Maybe, but like I think a lot of it just comes down to like they've just lost their competitive edge. They just don't seem to care. Like they just don't seem to care about anything. Which as a consumer, like that becomes infectious. Well, if you don't care, why should I care?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They cared enough to buy Activision Blizzard,
They cared until they bought Activision Blizzard, is what you mean. I don't know. Number 7, we're going to talk about a company that actually seems to care these days. They didn't care in the past, but they care now. That's Konami. Konami confirms that the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2 is considering how to handle really big titles. During the second episode of the Konami's Metal Gear Production Hotline series of live shows, series producer Noriaki Akamura was asked what was happening in regards to a second part of the compilation series, which began last year with the MGS Collection Volume 1. Quote, "We had HD ports of Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, or sorry, not really for 1, but the other 2, Akamura said. But most of the titles released after those don't have pre-existing HD ports that we could use. Some are in HD, but those would all be really big titles. That comes with its own set of issues. So with all these factors considering with the lineup, anything along the lines of what's in it, or questions like how long will it be in development and when it will be out, is going to take a little while until we can get a clear picture. But when we do, we'll let you know here." So this was basically them confirming that, like, hey, we are making a part 2 of the collection. A lot of people speculate that's going to include Metal Gear Solid 4, which to this day is only available on PS3.
Yeah.
It has never been available anywhere else. Because of that, I've never played it. Because the only PlayStation console I've never owned was a PS3. So I've never played it. So, they're trying to figure that out. Hopefully they can soon. Number 8 in the headlines. While Xbox is refusing to do anything else, they're making a change and bringing back friend requests for the first time since the Xbox 360 era. Xbox is bringing back friend requests for the first time since the 360 era, a decade and 2 console generations after they first went away.
Why'd they ever take that away?
Because Don Matrick destroyed the Xbox brand and did irreparable damage that to this day we have just fucking suffered from. Fuck Don Matrick so much. You want to talk about who I hate? If I saw Don Matrick on the street,
well, you wouldn't do anything.
And he was like, I don't know, on fire, I would just keep walking.
Okay.
I didn't set him on fire.
Okay, good. I was gonna.
I would never hurt anybody.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I wouldn't save anybody. I would let him burn. I would just be like, oh, hey Don, crazy Tuesday, am I right? He's just burning away.
This is that dilemma with the switch and the train. If he's on the right track, you're not pulling that handle. That's what it sounds like.
It's like, oh man, it sucks that happened to you. Anyways, they're bringing back friend requests. It's going to be accessible to Xbox insiders starting this week, as well as those who have joined the PC gaming preview on Windows PC. It will let users easily send, accept, or delete friend requests, and will make friends on Xbox a two-way, invite-approved relationship. Users will be able to continue to separately follow their favorite creators on Xbox. Honestly, like you said, I don't even understand why they ever did away with this. There was no gaining from ever from getting rid of it. But it's what they did. Mm-hmm. So it's coming back. Great. Where are those Game Pass games? It's like, okay, great. Devereaux, I want you to guess.
Okay.
Do you know the final number of this about how much the Borderlands movie made? Don't look at anything. Don't look at the next headline.
No, I don't.
I want you to guess how much it made.
Globally?
Yes, and I'll tell you what. Let me tell you how much the budget was.
Okay, that's a good, yeah.
The budget was $115 million. How much do you think they made globally at the box office? Because it's officially done. They're out of theaters officially.
Oh man, it's going to be so low. I'm going to say $20 million.
Okay, you went a little too low.
Okay.
So that's positive. Positive.
I can guess again?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll give you one more.
I'm going to go up there and say $60 million.
All right. Now you're doubling what they made.
I was reaching.
$31 million. The Borderlands movie made a total of $31 million at the box office after officially leaving cinemas on September 5th. According to the film industry data site The Numbers, the film made $15.4 million domestically and almost $15.5 million globally after being in theaters for only a month. The movie grossed $16 million globally during its opening weekend, starting on August 6th. It reportedly had a production budget of $155 million in marketing and just distribution costs at $30 million. Take-Two CEO Interactive Strauss Zelnick previously said that the film wouldn't have a financial impact on publisher or the Borderlands franchise as a whole. The film also didn't do well with critics. At the time of writing, Borderlands has a 10% Rotten Tomatoes and a 26% on Metacritic. What a failure. What a flop. And you know what's crazy? You know what for me is just like the ultimate kicker about this? This movie was made by Randy Pitchford. Like, not just Randy Pitchford, but like, he was there. Yeah. This isn't like a Mario Brothers situation from the 90s where it's like, oh man, this movie was a shit show because like they just didn't have the creative people that made the games involved. Like, no, he was there. Remember E3 2021 where he was backstage and he like filmed Kevin Hart and Kevin Hart's like, "What are you doing with this camera? Haha, Randy, leave me alone, you creep." But just, yeah, not good. Again, it makes me question the Randy Pitchford and his ability to, at this point, make a good Borderlands game at all. Because it seems like he has no idea what's going on with his own franchise.
That sucks.
It does. It really does. But, anyways. Number 10 in the headlines. Midnight Society has laid off 50% of its dev team following the Dr. Disrespect drama. It's been revealed that Midnight Society, the studio working on Dead Drop, a vertical extraction shooter, has been forced to lay off roughly half of its development team, 50%. Midnight Society rocketed into a prolific position almost 3 years ago when it was revealed that Dr. Disrespect Guy Beam was a founding member of the studio. In the years that followed, the controversial creator helped build Midnight Society's brand and pull players into the world of Dead Drop, which many doubted was legit because it lent on NFTs as a foundation. Following the recent allegations levied against Dr. Disrespect, the studio has been forced to lay off 50% of its development team. In a message on Midnight Society's Discord server, Robert Bowling 0402, one of the studio's founders, explained, "As most of you know, we have faced multiple unexpected challenges in recent months. To adapt to these challenges and secure the future of Midnight Society, Dead Drop, and our commitment to providing innovative gaming experiences, we've made the tough decision to streamline our operations, which includes a significant workforce reduction." He went on to stress that Dead Drop is still set to be released in 2025, and the team will spend time compiling revised plans and a fresh roadmap. However, the vast majority of the comments posted in response to this message stood in solidarity with Dr. Disrespect, the disgraced streamer who recently admitted to inappropriately messaging a minor on Twitch in 2017. Devro,
look,
take it away.
I just
I don't want to do this.
This isn't a surprising news because you get rid of the guy bringing in the money. It sucks, but I hope they know they did the right thing. I don't understand the support against them. You know what I mean? I just think that this feels like something that was going to happen when you collectively get rid of the founding member and I assume the wallet of the team. But you did it for a good reason. I just feel bad for the developers because that was a hard decision to make.
Yeah, they knew they were getting fucked when they made that decision. They did the right thing.
But then for them to get backlash, it's just weird. It's weird to me.
It's just, it just blows me away how we live in a world where someone could do something like that. I'm not even gonna get into the specifics, but how someone could do anything on that level of just being a piece of shit human being, and people will love and support you no matter what, as if you didn't do these things. We're not these aren't allegations. He admitted to all of this.
Yeah.
He admitted to everything, and people were like, "We don't care that you talk to kids. We don't care." And I'm just like, oh. My thoughts are number one, I'm assuming none of them are parents, and if they are, I don't want to wish ill, but man, I would love to see that person have to deal with that type of situation, and how that person who supports someone like that could just continue.
Yeah.
But anyways, Ty's back, so I don't want to continue to talk about this because Ty doesn't like when we talk about the real world. So we're gonna move on. Number 11. I know it's really extreme to go from that conversation to this one, but Konami, once again, Konami seems to care, reveals more Game Boy titles are coming to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days collection, a collection I have pre-ordered on Amazon. In case you missed it, earlier this year, what would you like to happen to Dr. Disrespect? Okay, I'll answer for Lotus. I'm not going to answer. So Lotus, we were talking about Midnight Drop Society, or I'm sorry, what was it called again? Midnight Society, that laid off half its team, the Dr. Disrespect studio, and how they announced that they had laid off 50% of their development team, and the Dr. Disrespect fans, like, were very loud in the announcement of the layoffs in support of Dr. Disrespect. And we were just talking about how terrible, like, how you could be such a piece of shit and just continue to support something like that. But anyways, Ty asked, what would you like to happen to Dr. Disrespect? I mean, like, at this point, like, I think what punishment-wise has happened is enough in terms of, like, punishment. Like, I mean, because, like, obviously platforms have demonetized them and they don't want to, like, you know what I mean? Like, there are issues coming, or, like, consequences coming down from, like, Twitch and YouTube and stuff, which is right, in my opinion. The thing that drives me insane is just how people continue to support it. I mean, like, I just think that's kind of gross. I mean,
Trashing the developers for doing what they did when they had no other choice, I feel like...
it's just sick.
Yeah.
It's just gross.
That part confuses me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can't imagine being, like, serves those people right. I'm glad they lost their jobs. Fuck you for turning your back on Dr. Disrespect, even though he admitted to everything that he was accused of. And like that, because that's the thing. Like, it's not even like these are accusations. This is confirmed. He said, "Did I do this? Yes." Like, this isn't like here's the thing, right? If we were sitting here and, like, we didn't have proof, or it was allegations, like, I do believe that, like, it's like you're innocent until proven guilty, and like you figure it out and let's see what happens. But, like, you should still take these things seriously, but whatever. Like, this dude straight up said, yes, I did do it. That's it. Close the book. Close the laptop. It's over. That's it. It's done. It's done. But it's just like, people are like, I knew it. Knew he was a good guy. He's great. Anyways. Yeah, exactly, Lotus. Like, that was also what I was talking about. It's like, it just drives me crazy how people can, like, hey, this is clearly not a good person. I still love him. It's great. Look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this. Look at this. He's not a good guy at all. God damn it, do I love him. There it is.
It's nothing like that.
Ty says, who said they had no other choice? The CEO literally screwed the whole team over. Yet the CEO still has a job. Still gets to support his family. Easy to make the calls when you're not affected. What are your thoughts on Ty clapping back at you saying they had no choice?
What do you mean they had no choice? I mean,
read the comments. What do you say?
No, I mean,
I'm gonna do a battle of Octopath Traveler. While you
what other choice do you think they had? This guy outed himself.
Yes.
As doing this.
Factually, yes.
And
he's like, yeah, I did it. I diddled kids.
You're making a game with him still. Like, you're associated with him. Your name and his name are going to be on the same product.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what you mean when you say they had choices. They had a choice.
Do 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 do.
Yeah, that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right then. Yeah.
If a random coworker at the place was found doing the same exact thing that he did, admitted to it and everything, they would have been fired.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, 100% fair treatment.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to Yu-Gi-Oh. Back to Yu-Gi-Oh. In case you missed it, earlier this year, Konami announced the Yu-Gi-Oh! The Early Days collection for the Nintendo Switch. At the start of this month, it launched a new social media account for the collection and other Yu-Gi-Oh! Themed retro games. Now, in another update, Konami has revealed more of the games coming to the new collection. The latest game announcements of this collection include the following titles: Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters from the Game Boy 1998, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters 2 Dark Duel Stories, Game Boy Color 1999, Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Duel Stories, Game Boy Color 2000. I guess those are all different games. They'll be joining the previously announced games Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters 4 Battle of the Great Duelists, Game Boy Color 2000, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters 6 Expert 2, Game Boy Advance 2001. Now, I think that last one, the Experts 2, pretty sure I played that one growing up and had that for my Game Boy Advance. And if I'm right, I'm very excited for this collection.
Okay.
I do have this pre-ordered because I am a big old school Yu-Gi-Oh fan. They really lost me with the card game and the show as the years went on. But OG Yu-Gi-Oh, love it. Love the card game. Love the show. Love all of it. So I'm excited for this. I wonder if they're going to add more. I mean, 5 is a good amount, I think, but I'm also curious to see like what's different between these games, because it's like I assume it's just story content, because it's got to all be like the same. It's just playing the card game, right? You think? It also goes on to say that the physical release will include a pack-in bonus featuring one of 2 random cards, either the Harpy's Feather Duster or the alternative art version of the Harpy's Feather Duster, which is funny because the Harpy's Feather Duster came with one of the older Yu-Gi-Oh games. I think Falsebound Kingdom for the GameCube, which is a phenomenal game, by the way. It doesn't play like a card game. I love it. The game will arrive this year on Switch. More on that, later this year. Ty says, Dev, they had a choice. They chose to virtue signal on social media, which led to these job losses. I'm sorry, my duty is to my employees, not some Twitter mob who wants me to do the right thing. Your thoughts on that?
He asked me before if I would do the same thing. And it's like, if I had a gaming studio and I'm the manager and Rome is funding it, but it turns out Rome set some man on fire who happened to work for Xbox in the past.
He deserved it. I mean, I didn't do it.
I would have to, first of all, fire Rome. And I mean, like you said, your duty is to the employees. You're trying to sell a product, and I can't have someone's name on it who's going to tarnish that product.
Yeah. I work in management, and if somebody did
because
stuff like that...
When that game comes out, it's going to be known as his game.
Yeah.
Dr. Disrespect's game.
Yeah.
I just...
It's called a code of conduct.
Yeah, I don't know. It baffles me that there's another side to it.
Well, apparently, according to Ty.
Because it's not like someone else... Like, he admitted it himself out of his own mouth. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's the crazy part.
That's what I said. It's like, it's not like these are allegations. Yeah. If they were allegations and there was no proof, it'd be like...
That's different.
I was like, all right, well, I mean, again, innocent until proven guilty. Like, we don't really know. I mean, maybe he did, maybe he didn't.
Yeah. He did.
He was like, are the rumors true?
Yeah.
Yes. Did I do it? Yes.
Yeah.
Goddamn woke mob. Like, what are we talking about? Ridiculous. Ty's crazy.
But that's not doing the right thing. I don't know.
I don't know. All right, number 12 in the headlines. More on Raven Software's complaint against Activision. A union within Call of Duty developer Raven Software is claiming that Activision is discriminating against union employees and failing to negotiate in good faith. That's what the complaint against the company claims in an official charges filed for the National Labor Relations Board. Insider Gaming has received a copy of the complaint via FOIA request. Within the document comes the basis of the charge, which gives... Oops. Oh no, I lost my place. Within the document includes the basis of the charge, which gives more information on claims of retaliation and discipline against members. In the 6 months prior to the filing of this charge, on an ongoing and continuous basis, the employer Activision discriminated against bargaining unit employees on the basis of their union membership concerning several terms and conditions of employment, e.g. pay treatment, hiring, work assignment, and tasking, promotions, permanent work from home, the charge reads. The employer also engaged in surface bargaining, failed to engage in good faith on any economic proposals, and other mandatory subjects of bargaining, e.g. discrimination and harassment at work, and failed to meet at reasonable times and places for bargaining. Insider Gaming has once again reached out to Activision and Microsoft for comment. That was the last thing we heard. So I'm sure Ty is like, how dare these people ask for more? How dare they ask for it to be treated correctly? Fuck you, where's my money?
Time to watch the party die.
Oh no, number 13 on the headlines. Really weird, but I guess I don't know. I don't know if I would say it makes sense. Black Ops 6 will not have campaign early access, Activision has confirmed. For the last couple of years, Activision Studios have published the annual Call of Duty campaign around a week earlier than the launch of the full game. This is always designed to encourage users to play the campaign in full before accessing multiplayer, which has traditionally been an issue with Call of Duty fans. However, the Activision's representatives have confirmed that Black Ops 6 will not have early access period for campaign this time around. I found this kind of disappointing. I actually usually enjoy the early access for the campaigns. It gives me time, so that way I don't feel like I'm missing out on the multiplayer. While other players are kind of getting ahead. But I mean, I guess they just didn't want to do it this time around. So, yeah, it's kind of disappointing. Ty says, it's easy for commentators, social media people, websites, and everyone not involved to make these types of demands. But what about the people being affected? People who are actually getting laid off, Devereaux. What about them, he asks.
But it sucks. I understand that, and it sucks. But when you are in charge of a company, and you're paying that company, and you're trying to build the game with that company, you don't ruin it yourself. This is all his fault.
Yeah.
I don't know who else you're trying to point fingers at. This is his fault. He did this. He got himself fired, and now his company, the company that he started, is suffering. Yeah, the people are losing jobs. It is his fault. Do you get that?
Does Ty get it?
It's like the two of us do this podcast together. Yeah. If one of us does something that puts us in jail or whatever,
yeah, Devereaux starts diddling kids. Guess what? The show's probably he's not going to be on the show next week.
Yeah, I better not be. And there won't be a podcast because
I mean, I would just come on here and start doing it myself. I'd just be like, "Hey guys, it's me."
Yeah, it's one of those things that yeah, these people are losing jobs. Guess whose fault that is?
It's Devereaux's because he's diddling kids.
I'm not doing anything.
Oh no. Anyways, number 14. Devereaux. I got laid off once. And you know what I wish someone would have said to me?
What did you want?
When I got laid off, I wish they would have been like, bro, just go to the beach.
Oh, that's a nice place to go.
Ex-Sony president Chris Deerling has said that those affected by the recent industry layoffs should find a cheap place to live and go to the beach for a whole year.
It's crazy.
The comments come from the latest My Perfect Console podcast, where hosts Simon Parkin and Chris Deering talked about the recent widespread industry layoffs. Speaking on the layoffs, Deering said, "I don't think it's fair to say that the resulting layoffs have been greed. I always try to minimize the speed." This guy sounds like Ty.
I was going to say
this guy sounds. Is this Ty? Are you actually Chris Deering? I'm not. Have you ever seen Chris Deering and Ty in the same room at once? Because I haven't.
Oh, I mean, you got a point.
Anyways, Ty says, "I don't think it's fair to say that these resulting layoffs have been greed. I always try to minimize the speed at which we added staff because I always knew there would be a cycle. I didn't want to end up having the same problems that Sony did at Electronics. Now, of course, there was just recently a big layoff of Sony studios and in London, but the whole studio setup has been run out of Amsterdam now for a few years. I don't know. If the money isn't coming in from the consumers on the last game, it's going to be hard to justify spending money for the next game. I think it's probably very painful for the managers, but I don't think that skill in this area of game development will be a lifetime of poverty or limitation," he continued. Deering then went on to say, It's still where the action is. It's like the pandemic, but now you're going to have to take a few, figure out how to get through it, drive an Uber or whatever, go off to find a cheap place to live and go to the beach for a year. But keep up with your news and keep up with it, because once you get off the train, it's much harder. But I'm optimistic about the future, for even people that have recently been laid off. Hello, Ash. Ash is like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Go drive an Uber, Deveron, and find a cheap place to live and
Go to the beach.
go to the beach. Why wouldn't we when you get laid off? It's what you do. What an idiot. Number 15 on the headlines. Our final headline, actually. It was kind of a slow week in terms of quantity of stories. Stalker 2 developer has praised Xbox for spectacular support on upcoming Game Pass title. Following numerous delays, you will finally be able to start collecting the Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl achievements. This is from TrueAchievements.com. On November 20th, when the game leaves our list of upcoming Game Pass games. Speaking about the game's development, Ukrainian studio GSC Game World has praised Xbox for its support of Stalker 2. Stalker 2 launches on... Where's the quote? Oh, sorry. Stalker 2 launches as an Xbox console exclusive in November, dropping straight into Game Pass and PC Game Pass. And GSC Game World's PR manager, Zakhar Bakharov, has praised Microsoft for its support. Microsoft doesn't put any demands in terms of the release date or the content. They're not our publishers. It's just the Game Pass deal. Bakharov told The Gamer. Personally, I never expected a corporation of this size to be so supportive. I can't say the exact cases, but they helped in situations where they were not exactly supposed to. So they could easily have said, no, that's not on us, that's with you guys, good luck, figure it out. GSC Game World's post-apocalyptic sequel was originally was supposed to launch in 2022, but continued challenges caused by the war in Russia, a war that apparently former President Trump, could have ended whenever he wants. At any point. He could have been like, it's over. It's done. But, Side? Hold on. What are you doing? Hello? Don't knock over my water bottle, please. Our producer's not happy.
Yeah.
She's
She heard us yelling about
diddling kids.
Yeah.
Sounds like Xbox is doing right by the developer though, so good on them. And that is the headlines for the week. So the rest of September should be a pretty exciting week or month. There are rumors of the Super Switch getting some sort of reveal this month.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully we see something there. Jeff Grubb heard that there's going to be a state of play, I believe, on September 26th. Okay. So we wouldn't talk about it next week, but the following week we would. And then obviously we're still kind of moving on into the fall and winter lineup of games. But speaking of games, these are the Game Informer Memorial game releases for the week of September 16th. First, coming out tomorrow, the 16th, The Spell Brigade comes out on PC. Train Yard Builder. That was the other game. I was thinking of the game that came out last week on 9/11.
Oh yeah, what was that?
Destroy Buildings Simulator. Yeah. Crazy. Final Fantasy 16's PC port comes out on September 17th. Marco Beyond Brave comes out on PC September 17th. The Plucky Squire comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC on September 17th. Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. Ash is trying to... Hey, stop it. Just trying to unplug my laptop. Sorry. Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, PC on September 18th. Broken Sword Shadow of the Templars Reforged comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC on September 19th. Anatria, The Last Song, comes out on PS5 and PC on September 19th, with the Xbox version coming in the near future. Into the Radius comes out on PSVR 2 on September 19th. Toy Tactics comes out on September 19th on the PC. Frostpunk 2 comes to PC on September 20th. Matchbox Driving Adventures comes out on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on September 20th. Runebender VR comes to PC VR September 20th. The Karate Kid Street Rumble comes out on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on September 20th. Deborah, what's your pick of the week?
My pick of the week would have been your pick of the week, but I'm switching it to the Broken Swords. Broken Sword Shadow of the Templars Reforged.
Okay.
That game looks pretty cool. I have gameplay up right now. It has like an 80s aesthetic of like cartoon as you play it. It's like a... I don't know. We don't see games like this anymore. No, we've only saw them a few times in like the 80s. So
okay. All right, and then my pick for the week is going to be the Plucky Squire. This is a game that's been shown off at a lot of showcases. It definitely looks extremely promising.
That was the first gameplay I had up. It looks really good.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. It looks phenomenal. It feels like a game that's going to come to Game Pass. I don't think it's announced for Game Pass, but would love to see it. I think it goes to PS Plus, actually. This is one of those rare PS Plus releases, I think. But yeah. All right, so I'm still playing Octopath Traveler as we speak.
Playing it.
So for those, an update. Last week, I hit that point where I needed to analyze an enemy out of the 381 enemies, and after a couple days, I found it. 146 out of 381.
Half
It
of
was
it.
some fucking turtle.
Yeah.
In a cave. But I found him.
As soon as you did it, it popped up. Like, okay.
I was just like, the national nightmare is over. I was worried. Like, to be fair, also, I was moving through it at a much faster pace than I anticipated. I mean, because again, I was at 145, 146. Like, I was making what I deemed to be good progress. I was like, okay, like I'm feeling good about this. But so that's done. So in terms of my 100% achievement run right now, the only thing I have left on this save file is the end game boss. So I'm currently grinding my levels just a little bit. The walkthrough I'm using as a checklist, it's saying that I kind of just need my weaker units to be level 65, and I should be fine. But I know how Octopath Traveler can be, so I'm just kind of buffing them out a little bit, getting everyone up to level 70 at a minimum. And then I'm going to go and do that. And then there's about like 2 or 3 more achievements that can be done on another save file, but I'm hoping that won't take too much time.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at. I know that today you were playing... what were you playing on Game Pass?
A Little to the Left, I think it's called.
Yeah.
That game's pretty fun. It's a lot. It starts out easy and then it gets really difficult as you go on, but I was enjoying it. Also, I was also playing Pikmin 3 still. What are you playing? 4. What are you playing next?
Honestly, I haven't even gotten that far. I mean, Star Wars Outlaws obviously is calling my name, so I mean maybe that.
Okay.
But I mean, I might want to like. Usually after I do these big games, I'm always kind of like, I want to do some smaller games.
Well, I think they said Star Wars Outlaws is what, like a 30, 40 hour game.
So. I mean, but I'm looking for like 20.
Okay.
I know that also I'm probably going to try to finish Mario Wonder because I started that when I was on vacation.
Gotcha.
I've been like piecing that here and there, like a little bit here, a little bit there.
Just
Maybe after
into
Octopath, I just jump in and try to finish it. I should almost be done that as well. Other than that, a few other small games, trying to clear out before October though. So. But anyways, that's going to do it for us here at the Game Room Podcast. Once again, thank you to everyone hanging out with us tonight. Thank you to Lotus. Thank you to Ty. Make sure you like, subscribe, join our Discord down below, please. We are trying to get that populated so we can start having a good time there, talking video games and a bunch of other stuff. And yeah, if you like pro wrestling, we do the AEW watch-alongs over on my other channel, the Broken Tables Podcast. Make sure you support us there. I really appreciate it. Until next time,
see ya.
Go Birds. Go Birds. Like the Giants scored 3 touchdowns today, and Washington gave up. They scored 0 touchdowns,
And they still won.
and Washington won. Like,
Do the math.
it doesn't matter. Just like Dr. Disrespect. I don't know. Diddling kids. Like, it's fucked up. It's gross stuff. Ty's a real sicko. He should definitely not be supported. Game over.